You're not exactly a priority right now, my mother texted me as I sat alone at my promotion dinner. 2 hours later, my cousin posted, "Family night for the real success story." It was my brother. He bought a jet ski. I paid the €2,000 bill. I went home and canceled the mortgage payments I'd been covering for 3 years. Then I left a note on their door, "Pay it yourself." 58 missed calls by morning. I knew something was off when I arrived at the downtown restaurant and the waiter asked if I still needed the table for 5. I smiled and said yes, knowing full well I shouldn't have. I'd been taught that family always shows up, especially for the important moments. But there I was, in a corner booth by the window, fiddling with the napkin and checking my phone every 10 seconds like a rookie on a first date. I even chuckled to myself, trying to appear nonchalant. "They're just running late," I muttered, ordering a drink I didn't really want. "My name is Andres. I'm 34, and after almost a decade of pouring my heart and soul into the same engineering firm, Martinez, I finally got the promotion I'd been chasing for years, Senior Project Manager. It wasn't just a title, it was validation. It was all those nights working until midnight while my friends were out, all those weekends I said no to beers to finish another report. It was stability, progress. It was mine, and I wanted to share it with the people who claimed to believe in me, my mother, my brother Marcos, my cousin Carmen, and my uncle Vicente. That was the short list, the ones who told me how proud they were of me last Christmas, the ones who cried when I bought Mom a reliable car and covered the mortgage when Dad passed. The same ones who'd said, "You're the glue that holds us together." 2 hours passed. Not a call, not a text. The only thing illuminating my phone was a notification from my banking app showing the restaurant bill slowly climbing. I told the waiter to bring the first course. I was already too embarrassed to leave, too stubborn to admit I'd been stood up. It was as I took the first bite of the steak, trying to pretend I wasn't alone on an empty bench, that my phone buzzed again. Family night for the real success story, accompanied by a group photo. Smiling faces, glasses of wine. My mother, Marcos, Carmen, Vicente, all dressed to the nines at a seaside restaurant. Marcos in the center, holding a keychain in one hand, a forced smile plastered across his face. Behind him, a brand new jet ski on a gleaming trailer. The caption, "He earned it. We're proud of you, brother." I stared at that photo for what felt like 10 minutes. Not a mention of me, not a "sorry we missed it, we'll make it up to you." Just a big family celebration for Marcos and his impulsive toy. And then I saw my mother's text, sent exactly an hour before that post. "You're not exactly a priority right now. We'll talk later. Enjoy your dinner." I don't know what hurt more, the casualness of the message or how rehearsed it sounded, as if she'd been waiting for the right moment to finally say it. I paid €200, left a 25% tip because the staff pretended not to notice I was alone, and drove home in silence. When I got there, I didn't turn on the lights. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, replaying memory after memory like a silent slideshow. Every grocery run I covered, every "I'll pay you back next week" that never came, every emergency call ending with a transfer from my account until things stabilize. Every time Mom told me Marcos was just finding himself. Every lie I told myself to avoid accepting that I was being used. I walked into my office, logged into the joint mortgage account I'd been silently funding for 3 years, and stared at the payment schedule. €1,800 automatically deducted from my salary every 10th. I opened a new tab, went to the central bank's website, and canceled the payment. Just like that. Then I grabbed a sticky note, wrote 5 words, drove to the family house I hadn't set foot in since Easter, and stuck the note on the door. "Pay it yourself." I didn't even wait to see if they were home. I left, phone on silent. I went to bed without brushing my teeth or changing my clothes. The last thing I remember was the sound of my own heart echoing in my ears. In the morning, I had 58 missed calls. Most were from Mom, a few from Marcos, one from Vicente, and 3 texts from Carmen saying, "Call me now, are you serious?" We need to talk, and we need to talk. But I didn't answer any of them. I just slowly scrolled through the missed calls, observing the timestamps as if they were pieces of a puzzle trying to form an apology that hadn't yet arrived. Then I saw the voicemail icon. I hesitated. There was something about hearing their voices that felt heavier than reading their texts, as if it made everything too real. But curiosity won. I pressed play, and what I heard next made me grip the edge of the nightstand until my knuckles turned white. It was my mother's voice, but not the one I knew from childhood. It wasn't the soft, melodic tone she used to sing me to sleep, nor the proud voice that congratulated me when I made the honor roll. No, this was a cold, sharp, frantic voice. Andres, what have you done? The mortgage was rejected this morning. The bank called me and said the payment didn't process. I don't understand. Why would you do this without telling us? You knew we were counting on you. Your brother, he's finally getting on his feet, and you're just being cruel. And then, as if in a scene from a dramatic comedy, her voice dropped to a weepy whisper. This isn't what family does. I repeated that phrase over and over. This isn't what family does. The irony stung deeper each time. The next voicemail was Marcos. Dude, this is insane. Mom's freaking out. We were going to take care of it. We just needed some time. You didn't have to go nuclear like this. Do you really want us to lose the house? A little time? 3 years of payments. But apparently, I should have given them more time. The third message was Carmen. She didn't even try to feign concern. Wow, so now you're punishing the whole family for a dinner? Real mature. You always act like the martyr, like you're the only one doing things for everyone. Newsflash, you're not the only one who works hard, Andres. Marcos has been hustling too. He finally caught a break, and we wanted to celebrate. I'm sorry your little promotion got overshadowed, but you didn't have to blow everything up for it. That part made me laugh, a dry, joyless chuckle, but still. Your little promotion. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the quietness of my downtown apartment. No family portraits, no souvenirs from group trips. Just a clean space that I paid for alone. But what I felt wasn't loneliness, it was clarity. I finally saw the pattern I'd ignored for years. My brother Marcos always got the attention. He's finding himself was the family motto when it came to him. Even when he flunked out of 2 universities, even when he wrecked his first car, even when he started 3 businesses and let each one sink without repaying a single loan. He was the dreamer, the one with potential. Meanwhile, I was the reliable one, the invisible safety net. No applause when I graduated early, no party when I paid off mom's car or negotiated with the bank to halt foreclosure after dad died. But in public, they called me a good son. They loved that image of me, the stable one, the provider, the reliable background character in their louder, messier story. Until I stopped. That afternoon, I finally answered a call. It was Vicente. He'd always been the most level-headed, never chiming in unless things were about to explode. I figured if anyone deserved a conversation, it was him. Andres, he said, his voice low and tense, you need to talk to your mother. For what? I asked, calm but direct. For what? So she can guilt-trip me into covering for them again. He sighed. She's devastated. She says she didn't know how left out you felt. I chuckled. She didn't? She didn't know she sent me a text saying I wasn't a priority while they celebrated Marcos, the guy who hasn't paid for a meal in years. He bought a jet ski, he yelled. He's doing something for himself, that's not a crime. No, I said slowly, but pretending that's some great achievement while ignoring everything I've done for the family, that's the problem. He gave me a sharp look. You always act like the victim. Not anymore. I'm not the fool anymore. He scoffed. They're your family. They were, I replied softly. Now they're just people I used to pay bills for. That's when the shouting started outside. Marcos, in the parking lot, pacing next to Mom's car. I saw him through the window, running his hands through his hair, yelling into the phone. I didn't need to hear the words. I already knew what he was saying. And I didn't move, because for once, I wasn't going to be the one to fix it. Carmen didn't leave immediately. She stood there, staring at me as if searching for the previous version of me, the one who would have already apologized, the one who might have offered to make a partial payment to smooth things over. I waited, arms crossed, saying nothing. She must have realized I wasn't bluffing because she finally turned and left. No slammed door, no dramatic final comment, just silence. It was a strange calm that came after. It wasn't peace, exactly. It was stillness after a long storm where you don't know if the sky is cleared or if another wave is coming. I made myself coffee, sat on the balcony, watched the same neighbors walk the same dogs in the same routines. But my world had changed. That afternoon, I got a text from my old friend Javier. We'd been roommates in college, and he knew my family dynamic better than most, although he'd only seen the tip of the iceberg. "Dude, you okay? Your mom called mine, said you're having a meltdown." I stared at the message for a moment, then replied curtly, "Nah, just finally woke up." He didn't push. Just sent a thumbs up emoji and an "I'm proud of you, man." That hit me harder than I expected. Around 6 p.m., my phone buzzed again. This time, a video call request from Mom. I didn't answer. A few minutes later, a long text arrived. Very long. It started soft, with that maternally charged guilt trip tone. "Andres, honey, please don't let this get out of control. I know things didn't go as planned, but we really were happy for Marcos. We didn't mean to overshadow you. Can we talk, please? I'll make your favorite lasagna, just you and me. We need to fix this." And then, as if flipping a switch, the second paragraph turned sharp. "But canceling the mortgage was irresponsible. You put us all at risk. You didn't have the right to make a unilateral decision about the house, especially when you volunteered to cover it." That word, volunteered, did something to me, as if throwing away €65,000 over 3 years was like spare change I'd found on the way to work. No apologies, no acknowledgement, just expectation. It reminded me of last Christmas, when Marcos bought Mom a designer handbag using my credit card without asking. "It's easier this way," he'd said, laughing like it was an innocent prank. My mom? She said I was overreacting for asking him to return it. "He's family," she'd whispered, patting my shoulder. "You always help, it's who you are." But maybe I didn't have to be that anymore. Later that night, I was checking emails when a new one popped up. Subject: Default Notice, Final Warning. I opened it. It was the official notice. 15 days left before the mortgage went into default. I could almost hear the panic erupting on the other side of the city. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the old spreadsheet I'd kept, one I hadn't updated in months. Every bank transfer, every utility bill, every temporary loan never returned. Each row perfectly labeled, color-coded by recipient. 10 full pages, over €80,000 in the last 5 years. I stared at the total. Then I opened a new document, titled it "What I Owe Myself," and started typing. It wasn't just a financial readjustment. It was personal. It was emotional. For every time I was interrupted at the dinner table, for every next time it's your turn on my birthday, for every celebration I funded and was excluded from. I didn't realize how much it all weighed until I finally put it down. That night, I got a video message from Marcos. He was on the couch, hair messy, face flushed. "Dude, what are you doing?" he slurred, feigning calmness. "Are you punishing everyone for a stupid dinner?" "Yeah, we messed up, but this. Mom won't stop crying. Carmen is blowing up my phone, and now the bank's calling." He looked away for a moment, then added, "Just turn the payments back on. We'll talk later." I didn't reply. Because they didn't want to talk. They wanted to reboot the system, plug the hole without fixing the leak. 3 days passed. I went to work like normal. I went back to running. I cooked real meals. It was almost comical how much time I suddenly had. I no longer had to check if Marcos's car insurance had renewed or if Mom's electricity bill was paid. I didn't have to set reminders for Carmen's rent. And every morning, I watched the family WhatsApp group descend into further chaos. Carmen had renamed the group several times. Emergency Andres respond, then mortgage crisis, and finally family unity chat. I muted it. I only opened it once to read a message from Vicente. I told you this would happen. You were never the weak one, just too generous. That message I saved, because it was the first time anyone in that family had said it out loud. The turning point came on the 7th day. Mom showed up at my door, but she wasn't alone. She brought Marcos, and Marcos brought the jet ski, towed right in front of my apartment building like a peace offering wrapped in stupidity. She knocked once, then again. I didn't answer. Andres, honey, please let us explain, she yelled from the hallway. I peered through the peephole. Marcos was pacing nervously, holding a paper in his hand. From what I could see, it looked like a bank notification. Mom stepped back a bit, looked directly at the door. I know you're in there. You're making your point, okay? We get it. You're angry, but don't throw your family away over a mistake. Another mistake. That's when I understood. She wasn't there for me. She was there to fix the mortgage. Not the relationship, not the betrayal, not the years of emotional neglect. Just the payment. I didn't open the door. That night, I simply watched them through the peephole until Mom gave up and Marcos drove away, towing his stupid €9,000 apology with his shiny black truck. I remember wondering if he'd even paid the latest insurance premium. The next day was payday, and for the first time in years, my account didn't show a massive deduction to cover a house I didn't live in. My paycheck felt heavier, like it had value now, like it was actually mine. I stared at the balance for a long time, trying to remember the last time I saw my bank account and smiled. But the peace didn't last. At noon, I got a call from Central Bank's collections department. My mother's house was 2 payments behind, and due to the type of mortgage, the foreclosure process had already begun. Of course, I wasn't liable. I'd removed my name years ago, after covering enough temporary payments to understand I was being dragged into something I never agreed to. But that didn't stop the bank from trying. I'm not the responsible party, I told the woman calmly. You'll need to contact the homeowner directly. There was a pause, and then the woman said something that stuck with me. She said, "They said you'd take care of it." She said, "He always has." That's when it clicked. Mom never told them I'd stopped paying. Never called the bank herself. She just waited. Assumed. Took for granted that the safety net I'd woven wouldn't dare walk away. Until it did. That night, she knocked on my door again. This time, she was alone. No Marcos, no trailer. Just her and a canvas bag. "Andres," she said when I opened the door, "we need to talk." I said nothing, just stepped aside and let her in. She walked in like she was entering a stranger's home, looking around with wide eyes as if expecting to find pictures of her still on my walls. There weren't any. I gestured for her to sit. She didn't. She stood by the window, staring outside. Then she turned to me. "We're going to lose the house." I nodded. "I figured." "You can stop it," she said, her voice cracking. "You can call the bank and—" I didn't interrupt her. No, calm, but definitive. She blinked. "What?" I said no. "I'm not calling the bank. I'm not making any payments. I'm done." Her jaw tightened. "It's not just about money, Andres. It's about family." I almost laughed. "Family?" "The night of my promotion dinner, you texted me I wasn't a priority and then threw a party for Marcos because he bought a jet ski. That's family. It wasn't meant to hurt you. But it did. And you didn't care until we stopped paying the bills." Silence settled between us. She sat down slowly, as if sinking under the weight of it all. "I didn't know how much you were covering," she said quietly. "That's the problem," I replied. "You never wanted to know." She shook her head, her voice barely a whisper. "Marcos isn't like you. He needs more help." "No, Mom," I said firmly. "What you need are consequences." She looked at me, her eyes glassy. "He's your brother." "And you're my son," I returned. She looked at me, and for the first time, there was no defense, no speech, no emotional manipulation. Just the hollow echo of the truth. I didn't want to believe, she started, that you would just leave us like this. I didn't leave, I corrected. I just stopped being used. She swallowed. And what are we supposed to do now? Figure it out. Like I had to. Like adults do. She blinked and looked away for a moment. I didn't see the mother who raised me anymore, but a frightened woman, unable to face what she herself had built. When she stood, she didn't hug me, didn't cry or yell. She just picked up her bag and paused at the door. This is really the end, I thought. The solo birthdays, the Christmases I covered, the tuitions, the bills, every time I made space for others while no one made it for me. It's the end of pretending this was love, I said softly. She nodded. Didn't argue. Just opened the door and left. And that should have been the end. But it wasn't. 10 days later, Marcos showed up. Not at my door, but at my work. I was in the middle of a meeting when the receptionist messaged me. There's a man at reception asking for you. Says it's urgent. My stomach dropped. I excused myself and went downstairs. There he was, sitting in sunglasses, tapping his foot like a washed-up celebrity. He stood when he saw me. We need to talk, he said. I didn't move. Here, he added, like I was dodging everyone. He came to me. We walked outside, stood under a tree by the parking lot. We lost the house, he said. I was silent. Mom was given 30 days to vacate. Carmen's trying to help, but she can't. Vicente's furious. Says he saw it coming. I nodded. For once. Why did you do it, man? You had your little promotion. You were fine financially. I asked. He shrugged. Yeah, you're the one with the stable job. Which meant I was supposed to carry everyone else. He looked at me like I was speaking another language. I bought that jet ski because, for once, I wanted to do something for myself, he said quietly. And I stopped paying the mortgage because, for once, I wanted to do something for myself too, I replied. He stared at me. Something shifted. His lip trembled. Behind the ego, a realization peeked through. Mom's going to stay with Carmen. I'll end up at Vicente's. Good. He looked down. I guess I always thought you'd keep taking care of it. I know. He looked up, squinting. So that's it? You're out. Not out. Free. He shook his head. You think you're better than us? No. I'm just better without you. He didn't like that, but he didn't argue. He turned, got in his car, and drove away. That night, I opened my phone, checked the family group chat one last time, read everything I'd ignored, and deleted it. A week later, I moved to a new apartment. I bought the desk I'd been putting off, booked a solo vacation, changed my number. The money I used to spend on them, I put into a savings account. The time I used to spend worrying, I now used to read, walk, sleep. And the guilt? It faded. Because sometimes, the cruelest thing you can do for someone who's grown accustomed to leaning on you is to stand up and walk away.